What's good? I am the masked man. I am the masked man and I'm the beyonder. This Oh, that's cool as fuck. Okay. Okay, I'm the beyonder and I am beyond you. I'm going live. This is the first time I've gone live in a long time. I don't go live much because my base is not big enough to support going live. I'm a dropper, not a streamer. I'm not much of a talk show host. I drop heat. I don't go live. But I figured, since I'm, you know, ain't really got nothing to do, feel like talking, I feel like, it's cool for me to you know, put something out in the live stream so y'all guys can have more content. Over the course of the next few months, I'm really gonna be putting out a lot of content. I'm really gonna be doing a lot of work on this channel. I've really like accepted the fact that YouTube is my career, YouTube is my profession, and I'm gonna do everything in my power to like go at it full force. I'm working on getting my own place, and once I have my own place and it's furnished, and I figure out where to wash clothes, and I got my TVs, and I got my laptop with my editing software downloaded on it, I'm really gonna just attack this thing to the highest degree. I recognize what YouTube is. It's performance art. It's public speaking. It's thought. You know, and um, and it's really like for the purposes of expression and creativity. And I'm gonna be doing things like video essays, like the Maskman commentaries that I used to do way back in the day, where I write out something and then speak it verbatim. I'm going to get back into doing more of those. Where I do a little research, on subjects and just give my opinion. Say what I feel on different topics. But these lives, it's really not much fun without people in it. But I'm just gonna get used to doing them, because you gotta get into the habit of doing things that are uncomfortable, doing things that you don't want to do, So that's why I'm gonna try to do, lives, maybe a couple of times a week, a couple of times a week, go live, see what's happening. Uh, well, well, right now I'm chilling like a villain in New Orleans, Louisiana. Um, trying to make a way for myself. Trying to make a way for myself. Trying to go to go to the highest level of perfectionism and doing what I do. Uh, one thing I guess I'll say, I guess I can talk about is a video series is coming up called The Rules of Manhood. The Rules of Manhood is going to be a video series. It's going to be a series of YouTube videos, and I'm going to relate, a lot of things to the YouTube series, The Rules of Manhood. Um, and, I'm going to talk about the rules. I'm going to discuss them. I don't know when I'm going to put the Rules of Manhood out. I don't know if I'm going to start it while I'm still homeless or wait until, I'm housed. I don't know. I don't think. I don't know. It just depends on the day. I think I'm gonna put those out, pretty quickly because writing the book, actually writing the book is going to be a bit of a process. So I think making videos about all of the rules and discussing discussing what I need to discuss as far as as far as developing the rules of manhood is will be helpful when I'm writing the book down. Getting ideas out. Making things clear in my own mind. But I really want to write down, codify the rules of manhood and make the rules of manhood a series of videos and relate things to the rules and you know do different things of that nature. I think that's important. I think that's helpful. I think that's useful for my growth and and for my maturation. So, these things, these live streams, I've never really liked them because, the purpose of going live is to interact with your fan base. And my fan base does not communicate with me yet because it's not really safe to talk to the mass man. It's not safe to talk to the mass man yet because I haven't made it safe yet. That's my bad. That's really my bad, y'all. I didn't know what my responsibility was. I didn't know what my calling was. I didn't know what my duty was as far as as far as the man who owns this channel and as far as, a thought leader, and a content creator. I didn't know that I was supposed to make it safe for you to talk to me. And it's my fault that I didn't make it safe. And I know that I'm not gonna get many people in these live streams that I do, but I just wanted to like get used to doing them, and I hope that you'll watch them, and take something from them. It's like the company is what I call what I do. It's like this is a company. This is not a business. I'm very, very interested in making money. I'm very, very interested in getting rich. I want to be stupid rich. I want to be crazy rich, but I don't ever like want to rise above the level of a millionaire. Like I don't want to be richer than a millionaire. You know, that's not that's not what I want to be. Even I want to have access to as much capital as I need to do whatever I want because I want to be a legitimate king. So a king needs a castle. I want to have two states, Louisiana and Texas, and the king of the South. So that requires a lot of funding. But I don't want to like have cash reserves like above millions and millions of dollars because it gets into that fact where you're just hoarding money. I don't want to be a money hoarder. Hoarding money. I want the money that I make to circulate and to go into philanthropic ventures and community uplift and building you know organizations and healthcare and housing and things of that nature. I don't want money to be like in my bank account or to buy yachts or shit like that. So we dreaming right now, we fantasizing, and what can we decide to fantasize about? What can we fantasize about? I'm trying to think about. Oh yeah, the when I get off of here, I may either go back into the library or I might start working on the rules of manhood. The rules of manhood is gonna be like um it's gonna be the rules that I've sketched out, and one of the rules is fuck Jesus. It's just gonna be fuck Jesus. It's not gonna be fuck Jesus Christ because Jesus is no Christ. Christ is a name that they assign to Jesus. Sometime in the Bible, Jesus' last name is not Christ. Christ is a name that's assigned to like special people. His name is just Jesus, son of David. So that isn't even David's son. So that's going to be one of the rules. Fuck Jesus. That's going to be one of the rules of the rules of manhood. So I just thought I'd come on. I just wanted to see if anybody would come on with me. I think it's cool that when I do when I do this shit when I do this shit on YouTube, I can go back and forth on the camera, you know. But when I do it, when I'm recording the, but when I do it, when I'm recording, a still video, I really can't. So I kind of know what I want to do now. I went live, and nobody came on live with me. Boo hoo, you punk ass niggas. You still scared to talk. I don't know when my fan base, my loyal 300, is gonna come out of the woodwork. I'm very interested in the next 3 years as I build up this channel to be what it's gonna take to really support me to have a very high class lifestyle. And when I say high class lifestyle, I mean I'm making $3,000 to $5,000 a month strictly off the strength of the power of YouTube AdSense. You know, just through YouTube AdSense, in about 3 years, I want to be making $35,000 to $5,000 a month. If I'm making that kind of money, I'm totally free. I'm totally in the zone, and I can do exactly what I want to do. And I'm exactly who and what I need to be. So in 3 years, when I'm making 3,500 to $5,000 a month. Maybe at the 2 year mark, 2.5 year mark, maybe at the 3 to 4 year mark, when I'm making that kind of money, I wonder would the original, 300 start coming out of the woodwork and be like, Man, I'm one of your day ones, and I watched you when you did the video on suicide, man. I was right there. I was one of the viewers, man, and I talked to it about my friends, dog, and you the realest, man. I wonder is my fan base gonna do me like that? When I turn the corner and I actually become successful at this thing, and I grow beyond boutique, and Maskman goes mainstream. Maskman, Mr. Maskman is always going to be a radical. Mr. Maskman is always going to embody the spirit of Tupac. But Tupac and Bob Marley and Michael Jackson, they went mainstream. They went pop. They went to the masses. Even though they had their radical, spirit, to them. Malcolm X. Even though they had their radical spirit to them, they still went mainstream. And in the next 3 years, I believe it's going to take about 3 years to really get to the point where I'm really standing up and standing tall, 10 toes down and strong as a motherfucker. I think it's going to take about 3 years to get to the next point. 3 years from now, 26, I should be, somewhere around, if I if I get like if I can get like 1,500 subscribers, let's just say if I can get like 3,000 subscribers in a year, in the next 3 years I have like 9,000 subscribers. Let's try to make it 10,000 subscribers, going up to people one by one. So in 3 years I have 10,000 subscribers. You know, 10,000 subscribers in the next 3 years. 10 to 15,000. I'm gonna be getting like 7,500 to 8,000 views a video based on how many views I get now. I'm gonna be talking about a variety of subjects from education to healthcare to book reviews to politics, you know, covering other people's channels, you interspersing clips, doing different creative things, artistic things, putting in music, working with 3 different YouTube channels, So I feel like doing all of that, I should have a very, very healthy, revenue, a very healthy, I should have a very healthy, revenue stream, and I should be doing really, really well for myself. I was gonna cut this off and do a video on the rules of manhood, but I'm gonna do that shit tomorrow. I'm having a good time talking about my plans and talking about what I want to do. So I just keep talking about the company. It's like I want like I haven't I don't really know like how I want to differentiate the Mr. Mass Man and the Edward J. Anderson Jr. channel. I know that they need to be different, but I don't know how I want to make them different because a lot of the shit that I put on the original, you know, like that's gonna be a challenge finding out how I want to be different, in that way because I only created Edward Anderson Jr. because I got locked out of Mr. Maskman. But that person, Edward, has to have a voice, has to have a personality, has to have a character. So I'm trying to brainstorm about how I want to approach putting videos on that channel and what I want to talk about over there. Nobody can help me do this. You really can't give me suggestions, even if you were somebody who was willing to talk. But I'm trying to think about, how I want to break things down. I guess, Mr. Edward Anderson is the real guy. Edward Anderson is the guy with the sister who was trying to kill him. Edward Anderson is the guy who's Eddie James' baby boy, I guess that channel is like, it could be more like a story time channel. I think, where I want to take that channel and what I want to do with that channel is kind of like story time, chatting about my life, where I come from, Shreveport, Louisiana, chatting about New Orleans, what I want to do as far as, promoting myself in the city, you know, maybe introducing you to different people I meet and different people I talk to beyond a simple interview, but more like informal conversations, hanging out. Maybe it could be like, you know, behind the scenes, different things like that, more informal. You know, you know, the man behind the mask. Is what the Edward Anderson channel is. And I don't really want to do a whole lot of discussing about Brittany Williams. If I ever get famous, if I ever get famous, more than the 50,000 people who've seen me, more famous than that. If I ever get like Lil Bootsy famous, and I can call him Lil Bootsy because I'm from Louisiana, but if I ever get a little Bootsy famous and I'm like known, internationally or whatever, I don't want to like embarrass a woman who's living her life. I love Brittany and I really care about it, and I don't want to say anything to like make her life hard. I'm sure she has some whack ass nigga, you know, who she's shacking up with, so I didn't step up to the plate and do what I needed to do at that time. I fell all the way off to the point where I'm living on the street. So she's taking care of herself. So I shouldn't, make it a point to like really embarrass her. We had a lot of time together, but like everything else, I don't have like perfect recall of everything that happened. I gave you I really gave you the highlights, as far as, what the deal is between me and her and how I feel about her and she'll just be a name, until, the flesh can come up, and touch a nigga. I don't wanna like chase her down. I don't wanna like hire like I thought about hiring a private investigator to like look that woman up, but I need to let my energy pull her to me. It's like, I'm gonna be in Louisiana, I'm gonna be in Texas, I'm gonna be saying your name, so holler at a player. If you if you wanna see me, if you wanna know me, if you wanna rekindle our friendship, if you wanna be a proper boyfriend and girlfriend, If you want me to, if you want me, holler at a nigga, man. But the company is about education. First of all, the company is not about. The company is about art first. I'm an artist. I'm not an educator. I'm not qualified to educate you yet. I'm a homeless nigga. I'm a nigga who talking for a living. I'm not qualified to educate you yet. That will come in the coming years when I study Khan Academy, when I study, math for dummy, when I study flashcards, when I study, different systems of government, when I study politics, when I study, reading and grammar and mathematics and science and you know, history. And when I do all of that study and all of that work, for a couple of years and I put the time in, then I'll be qualified to teach. But this is an art channel and I'm an artist. I'm YouTube's Dave Chappelle and I'm just trying to put my time in. I'm trying to get in, my hours and put in the work to get the benefit from the work that I put in. So what needs to happen as far as the company is like, okay, Edwin Anderson is story time. That's really what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put like different things, put my artwork on there, put my artwork on the Edwin Anderson channel, put that on there, put different people that I want to meet on there. Um um do cases. I call myself a judge, so I need to like, have, perform cases, do cases as a judge. I need to study the law, as much as I can stomach it, or study, like courtroom, study like there's courthouses, like go to court and look up courtroom jargon and study the law. The law is something that not study laws, the law. The procedure of the law, how the law is conducted, not the actual laws that are on the books, because laws have to be enforced. But like study courtrooms, study how that's run and operate. Like um the channel, like introduce people to the judge and like enact rulings. Like I think that'll be cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I need to like study like courtroom shit, and not like Judge Judy, but like a real, like a court. So like I need to go to courts, and study how things is conducted, study how cases are taken out, read transcripts of courtrooms, look up different like lawyers and shit like that, and start doing cases and really put effort into the cases and do my bang bang as the sound of the gavel, bang bang as the sound of the gun. Put that in there. I think putting together some cases, will be very very dope. Be very very entertaining. I think it'll be a whole lot of fun. If I study courtrooms and how to do shit like that, because I want the judge. I want the judge for and once again, check out Edward J. Anderson Jr. Edward EdwardJayanderson, capital J, capital R. Check out Edward Anderson Jr. Edward J. Anderson Jr. But I want the judge persona to be legitimate. I want the judge persona to be authentic. I want the judge persona to be real. I want to strike fear in the motherfucker's heart when the judge pops up and the judge says that I'm ruling on your case and this is how I feel, and bang bang is the sound of the gavel, and bang bang is the sound of the gun. I want that shit to be dope as fuck. I want that shit to quake the earth. So I can't really play around with it. I can't really fuck around with it. I gotta look up real court cases, real court, real judgments, and like do it on like different levels. I'm gonna like study the judge duties and the things like that, but I gotta like really like study the law and like really study like courtroom procedures and judges and stuff like that and figure out how to rule on cases and how to do things in such a way that it'll have a very, very potent and a very, very effective impact. I want to, so the judge, even though I say that I'm an artist on that channel, the judge is a very, 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 very important character on the Edward J. Anderson Jr. channel. The judge is critically important, and the judge is like the most important character over on that channel. So the judge have to make a lot of appearances, and the judge have to make a lot of rulings. And I'm not going to change that description because that description is perfect. But Edward gave birth to the judge. I'm the judge for all mankind, and I got to rule on cases, and I got to discuss, and I got to talk, and I got to deliberate. So I have to study the law, and I have to administrate justice, and I have to put in justice, and I got to say things the way that they need to be said, and I have to be on point with what I say. I'm not going to go to school for law, but I'm going to study law and I'm going to study court and I'm going to study statutes and I'm going to do what I need to do to have a good understanding. So it's going to take me time. It's definitely going to be a wait till I get my apartment conversation before I can really discuss and talk about, what I want to do as far as the judge character. But yeah, more than the playing around, the judge is the most important character or the most and I don't want to say character because it's not a joke. It's the judge is the most important persona. It's the most important role of that channel. Like Edward Anderson is the judge. Edward Anderson is the regulator. Edward Anderson is the administrator. Edward Anderson is the guy who sets things straight. So I had to present myself and comport myself and stand in the space of a judge and administrate justice and make rulings and make verdicts and have cases. So I got a whole lot of cases. That's from the lawyer, but I'm not the lawyer. I'm the judge. I got a whole lot of cases. You gotta have 13 cases. 13 cases, a whole lot of cases. So we gotta have judgments and rulings and statutes and all of that. So we gotta do what we gotta do to make the best possible verdicts, and we gotta make these cases binding, and we gotta do what we can do to get shit done. So I just want and so yeah, that's what it's gonna be. It's like I'm gonna study law, and then I'm gonna like do things like um make like like I'm not saying everything. Like the judge is the most important persona, is the most important, for lack of a better word, character. The judge is the most important, but Edward is like more. I'm more than the judge, so we're gonna have a lot of fun on Edward Anderson Jr. But Edward Anderson is the real guy. Edward Anderson is the real dude. Edward Anderson is the dude with the flesh and blood body. Is the Jason Voorhees, not the Freddy Krueger. So I have to be different over there, and I'm still like deliberating how I want to be different. I don't want to be the judge all the time. So the judge is the most important. Like I'm a judge, but sometimes you got to take the robe off and you got to put the dance shoes on. So I think I'm going to like uh my journey into becoming a bona fide player, a player with an A, not a player with an ER. The player with the ER is Mr. Maskman, but the player with an A, the player with the YA is Edward Anderson. It's like I want to be a player with a YA, a player. I want to step to the pretty girls and pull them and get their drawers dropping. Get their panties wet. Make them drip drop when I walk by. I make them drip drop when I drip drop. I know that didn't make no sense, but make it drip drop when I drip drop. I want to make them drip drop when I want to make them drip drop when I dip drop. When I dip drop, I want to make them drip drop. So I want to be a player with a YA. And I don't think that it's wise or it's smart for a man, at my age and my kind of way to like get what I need out of a book. I'm gonna read, pimp books and no more Mac books, but books written by pimps and I'm gonna read white folks books, books about the game. I'm gonna study the game and but like romance and seduction and all of that. I think I gotta like derive what I need to derive from my own mind. And aside from like maybe, taking some out of the mode one universe, Robert, Alan Roger Curry, I may take a little bit of his work, and use some of that. But other than that, I'm really not trying to have these guys in my head, telling me what to do and how I need to approach women and you got to do this and say that. I'm a romantic. I'm very affectionate. I like to be sweet. But I have to refine my sugar. I have to refine, my technique, and I got to play around with, what I'm comfortable doing, and I got to kind of see what I can get away with. So I have to work on my player with a YA. You know, and learn the romance game, learn the seduction game, learn the full women get women game, and like try to get everything you can get out of a woman. Try to get her best, giving it to her and give her something in return that restores and increases what she gives to you. So I want to have relationship with women that's a mutually, throwing, you know, I want to like mutually like sow seeds into a woman and she sows seeds into me, for a lifetime. I don't want this. I don't want a tit for tat relationship and I don't want a pimp relationship where I drain her of everything she is and then I throw her off into the street without a retirement plan. It's my opinion that pimps are the ones who destroyed the game and why there's no game anymore. Max and players didn't protect the game from pimps and hustlers and murderers and dope dealers and drug addicts and gangbangers, eventually whittled the game down to nothing because there wasn't respect for the original foundation of the game, the woman. The woman has the pussy. So if you don't respect the pussy and if you disrespect the tricks, then how long can the game maintain? How long can the game survive if you're disrespecting the women who bring in the money and the people who spend the money? It was destined to fail. It was destined to die. It was always had a cancer in it. It was the original sin, and it needs to be corrected. And when I do my part to like bring the game back, I'm gonna make sure that the woman is the crown and the most important foundation to the game. There's nothing more important than the woman. There's nothing more special than the woman. There's nothing more, valued than the woman. And then after the woman, the trick or the customer, as I'm gonna call them, the customer, or something cooler than a customer, but I'm on the fly right now, but something cooler than a customer. Whatever's cooler than a customer, I'm gonna give them a cooler name than a customer, way cooler than a customer. But like whatever the buyer or the fan is, whatever the buyer or the purchaser is, whatever we call that, that's number two in the game. It's like first comes the woman, then comes the customer. And then it's all the other people who file into their positions into the game. Then they take their respective places as roles of prominence and where they fall as far as their relevance to the game and where they need to be. But first comes the woman, Ice Cube, then comes the customer. So that's how I'm gonna sketch it out. That's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make things work like